Hey guys, that guy with the picks here. Yesterday in our NFL game, we had the under in the Cincinnati Bengal game, and that game did not cover. That game was 3-3 with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. A pure defensive game, and the defenses both checked out. Once again, no excuses. It was a loss. This past week, on Tuesday of this past week, we gave the Dodgers and the Lakers. Dodgers win, Lakers lose. On Wednesday, we give the under in the Appalachian State game and the Spurs, and they both won. On Thursday, we gave Louisiana and the Knicks, and Louisiana lost, and the Knicks covered. And on Friday, we gave the over in the UCF game and the Knicks. The UCF game lost, the Knicks won. And then on Saturday, I gave UTSA, and they killed them and covered. And yesterday, we had the under in the Cincinnati game, which was a loss. So on this week, this was my worst week by far, and we still have a winning record of 6-4 up to this point. Now, most gamblers would be happy as hell to have a 6-4 record in the week, especially if you're flat betting games. What that means is you came out a winner. Now, I know my crowd and audience is used to somewhere between 82% and 90%, but even in my head, I knew that it had to flatten out sometime. But it definitely hasn't flattened out yet. I mean, we're so far above 500, it's not even funny. I mean, if this was an actual sports game, we would be in first place in any conference that you put us in. And tonight, we're looking at the NFL, and I love this game tonight. We have New Orleans traveling to Seattle. New Orleans comes in the game at 3-2. Seattle comes in tonight at home at 2-4. The line opened up at New Orleans -3. Now it sits at New Orleans -4. The total came in at 43.5, and right now it's dropped 2 points down to 41.5. New Orleans last week, they played Washington last week, given 2.5 points on the road, and they won 33-22. This was Winston's best game through the air, passing yards wise. He was 15 of 30 for 279 and 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. Excellent performance. Kamara had 16 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. Callaway in the game had 4 grabs for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Deontay Harris had 1 catch for 72 yards and a touchdown. New Orleans defense, they had 2 sacks and 2 interceptions. And that was against a defense that, especially me and the rest of the public, thought that Washington would be a top 5 defense throughout the year. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. Washington sits at the bottom of the NFL in every defensive category. This New Orleans team, they average 25 points a game, and they give up 18 points a game, which is one of the tops in the league. The Saints are well below average against the pass, their defense gives up 285 yards a game through the air. The Seattle team last week, they traveled to Pittsburgh as a 5.5-point underdog. And I gave Pittsburgh in that game. And they were up 14-0 at halftime. And then Seattle came out the second half, and they were a new team. You could tell watching that game, they were very timid in the first half, not knowing what to expect. Out of Geno Smith, for a full game, out of Alex Collins running the ball. And they were down 14-0 at half. And they came back in the second half to take the Steelers into overtime at home and eventually losing that game 23-20. Geno Smith played well above average. Alex Collins was a stud in that game. Seattle loosened up, their collar a lot more in the second half. I mean, they were playing very conservative in the first half. It went punt, 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 until Steelers were able to put up 14 in the second quarter. And Geno Smith in that game, he was 23 for 32 for 209 yards and a touchdown. If you would have told Pete Carroll at the beginning of the game that would have been his numbers in the game, Pete Carroll would have been ecstatic, would have been happy as hell. Alex Collins, 20 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. He also had some receptions for some yards, too, that definitely made the Seattle Seahawks look better in the game. Metcalf had 6 catches for 58 yards. This Seattle team, they average 23 points a game, and they give up 24 points a game. The Seahawks are 11-5-1 against the spread in their last 17 Monday games. The Saints have the 31st ranked passing offense, which means how they typically, mostly all the time, try to get it done by is on the ground with Kamara. I see them having troubles doing that in this game. I know Seattle lost last week, but I also know Seattle's coming into this game back at home with some confidence, even after the overtime loss to Pittsburgh. They had nothing to hang their head about in that game. They were playing with backups, and they competed, and in the second half, in my opinion, beat the hell out of Pittsburgh, to be honest. And I'll tell you what, if Seattle has any playoff hope at all in their mind, this game tonight is pretty much a must-win for Seattle. And I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. Having a week to put together a scheme and some individual plays, knowing who's going to be at the helm and who's going to be behind the quarterback, is definitely going to benefit Seattle at home. And Seattle also has the loudest stadium in football. They got the 12th man. They got the 12th man. I tell you what, Seattle makes that stadium jump. You'll see some offensive penalties because of the crowd, the loudness, some false starts, some delay of games. That's just forgiven in this game. And anytime you add yards to a 1st and 10 to make it 1st and 15, 1st and 20, those type of plays are huge in the NFL. A lot of the times when you break down these games, that's what dictates the totals of these games and the final score of these games. Penalties play a huge part, and I see the Saints committing some penalties tonight. And I also see Seattle getting the job done tonight. I see this as it's a grind out game. I definitely think they will loosen the collar in the first quarter, first possession. They're going to go with what they know. They got 2 great wideouts in Metcalf and Lockett. They know Collins can run against a good defense in Pittsburgh. I'm sure that he's going to be able to run tonight against the Saints also. I think Geno will be a little bit more mobile tonight. You'll see him create and make some more plays out of the pocket. Yeah, tonight the pick is take the Seattle Seahawks +4 at home. I want to thank you guys for all the love, support, the likes, the shares. Thank you so much. All that stuff contributes to this channel being able to produce the content that we do and able to still give you, even on a bad week, a winning percentage. We're going to continue, guys. We're going to continue, guys, to continue to give you high percentage plays each and every day. Take Seattle tonight plus the 4. I will be putting out an NFL, or not an NFL, this is the NFL. I will be putting out an NBA video here shortly as well. I have a good one tonight in the NBA. And you know what we're going to do, guys. We're going to get back to getting that cash.